All right, so I'm really, really excited for tonight's Zoom. We have Miss Sarah Foreman. She's joining us, and I'm really going to let her introduce herself, but I'm just letting you guys know I'm personally going to be taking notes on this, and I'm so ready for this Zoom and excited to hear from her. I reached out to her personally, and I really admire her mindset, and I can't even think of the word, but she's just so driven. And so I messaged Sarah. I was like, hey, I'm building up my YouTube channel. I want you to be a guest speaker for us. It would be perfect for our team. So she so graciously agreed. I'm going to let her introduce herself and just let her do her thing.
Awesome. So hi everyone. I am so excited to be on the call tonight. I just love Rachel and watching what you guys are up to. So I'm so excited to share with you guys tonight. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to share my story, and then I'm going to kind of share my light bulb moment that really changed everything for me, and then give you guys some tips that's really helped me get to where I am now. And so I actually got started with Plexus. My name is Sarah Foreman. I actually got started with Plexus 3 years ago last month. So in November, I celebrated my 3-year Plexiversary, which is just so crazy to think about. And so I just kind of want to let you guys kind of see a picture of where I was 3 years ago. So I graduated college in 2012. I've always struggled with my weight, but it was something that didn't really rear its head until I stopped cheering. And towards the end of high school, I got my driver's license, and a lot of my friends and I, there was a Taco Bell right next to our school, so we would hit that up every single day. And just the processed foods that I was eating, I developed a food addiction, really, and my body literally craved it all of the time. So I was always eating junk food, always getting fast food. And from not having the physical activity that I did when I was younger and just eating all of that crap, I started to pile on weight very rapidly. So I ended out my senior year around 200 pounds. And so I actually found Plexus in August of 2013, excuse me. And it was right when I was starting my second year of college. I went to a local community college here, and I was really struggling with not only just my weight, but when you struggle with your weight, I think that there's a lot of internal struggles that people don't realize that you go through. So the way that I was feeling about myself on the inside, because I was so uncomfortable with that, it was playing out in other aspects of my life and my relationships and things like that. Because when you're not happy with who it is that you are, it's really hard to be able to truly pour into and love others the way that you know that you're capable of. And so for me, I found out about Plexus, and the way that I found out about it was because my aunt, actually, her and her best friend had been taking the products, and I knew her best friend. Her best friend was a small woman, so she wasn't taking it for weight loss. And although I have always struggled with my weight, I was never one to take or to try anything for it. I had tried, restricting calories or exercising and things like that, but it never seemed to work. And I was never one to try a diet pill or shake or anything like that. I've always been really natural minded and really into holistic health and things like that. So when I heard about Plexus and how it was plant-based and was actually helping with my aunt to help regulate her thyroid levels, so that was really a light bulb moment for me to notice that Plexus was about so much more than just weight loss. And so for me, I joined as an ambassador in November of 2013 because my aunt told me, hey, you can join as an ambassador, you can get your products at the cheapest price, and all it takes is about 3 customers to make enough money to cover the cost of your own product. Now, at that time, I had been on and off the products because I was a broke college student, and I'm an only child as well. And my parents my dad had an amazing job when I was younger for Ford Motor Company, and it shut down when I was in 8th grade. My mom had been a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, so that was a huge blow to our family. So throughout high school and then even to college, that was why I went to a local community college, because money was really tight. So I had always been paying for all of my my own things since I was 16 years old. So as a broke college student, to being able to fork out that money for my Plexus every month, it seemed like a lot, even though I was spending way more than that if I added up all the fast food and junk food and whatnot that I was getting. So much more than that. So I joined as an ambassador, and you guys, I did not want to start a business at all, as I'm sure many of you guys were in the same position. I'd heard of Mary Kay and Scentsy and different companies like that, but I didn't think that anyone ever really made money and anything like that. I totally did it. And I also didn't think that someone my age could make money and anything like that. So I just joined to get the products cheaper. And I'll let you guys know, I hit some of my worst struggles during my Plexus journey. So for me, it wasn't like I joined Plexus and then had this immediate success. Like sometimes we look side to side and we can see and be discouraged by. That was not me. So I want you guys to know that. I joined Plexus, and what's great is that when you do join Plexus, you're added into all these amazing Facebook groups. So even though my business didn't take off immediately, I was in these groups and I would look around these groups every day, even though I never said anything. I was super quiet, but I would just look around and I would see the different people that were able to do Plexus all the time, work from home, or who were having these amazing health and wellness results. So over time, I was building my belief in these products and in this company. I totally saw the vision. And that was actually my dream, was to be able to work from home, be my own boss. If any of you guys can relate, I'm a super big free spirit. I've never liked being confined to a 9-to-5. I like to learn what I want to learn, when I want to learn it. I'm a night owl. So college and from there doing the whole 9-to-5 thing just didn't seem like what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But of course, I didn't know that there was any other option. So I'll let you guys know, I actually reached my heaviest weight during my journey. In August of 2014, I hit 225 pounds. And at 5 foot, that's super unhealthy. And like divine timing, I always say divine timing works itself out. The very next month, in September of 2014, is when Plexus actually released the Triplex combo. So they had always had the Plexus Slim, the Pro Bio 5, and the Bio Cleanse, and ambassadors were actually starting to educate each other on gut health. We all know Lori Harrison, we love her. Ambassadors were starting to educate each other, and that's really when I started to see that this was so much more than weight loss. And that was when I started doing research on gut health, like I'm sure many of you did and were mind blown at first. And that's when I found that a lot of these mystery symptoms that I had struggled with, and also my rapid weight gain, it all probably boiled down to my gut. I struggled a lot with allergies and sinuses in middle school, and I was on and off I totally forgot the steroids that you take for that, whatnot, antibiotics. Don't know why I blamed on that. I was on those on and off all the time because I thought that that was the only thing that you could do, to get help. But I didn't know that you really needed to be getting to the source. And so for me, what changed when everything really did start to change was in January of 2015. So I got on the Triplex combo in September of 2014, and what was different this time than any other time that I had taken the products was that I was not only consistent on them, I was taking them every single day because I was on and off always before, but I wasn't looking for immediate results. So anytime before then, I would take my Slim and in 3 days, I'm like, okay, have I lost a pound yet? What's going on? But when I got on the Triplex combo, I really made it a point to trust the process. That was my mantra, and I actually got it tattooed on me too. Trust the process. So I didn't check the scale every day. Really what I just started doing was taking pictures. And I'll let you guys know, I started the Triplex in September, and it really wasn't until around Christmas and around New Year's that I actually could start to notice a difference. So I started to see that my clothes were fitting different, and what I did was I was just taking before and after pictures in my bathroom mirror. I didn't realize that was going to be feedback, no worries, but I didn't realize that was going to be.
Hold on, sorry.
No worries. I was trying to see so I
Hold on. All right, I found it.
was like, is it me?
Found it finally. Okay, no, you're good.
Well, what really changed for me, you guys, in January of 2015 was that for the very first time, instead of just looking for immediate results, I really decided to stay consistent on these products, draw my line in the sand, and go all in. So like I said, I was added to those awesome Facebook groups, and I had belief in the products from that whole, 9 months prior. I had belief in the opportunity. I saw what it was doing for other people. Heck, I had belief in the company. I knew all about Tarl and Alec, and I knew everything, but what I didn't have was belief in myself and belief that it could happen for me. So that's what I first really want to speak on. I want to share because that was my light bulb moment. In January of 2015, mind you, that was a year and a half after I joined as an ambassador. So just know wherever you're at in your journey is exactly where you're supposed to be. But for me, January of 2015 was when I drew my line in the sand. And so I had this dream to go to the One Plexus convention. They say that leaders are born at events. And for me at that time, to paint you guys the picture, in January of 2015, I was finishing out my associate's degree. I was almost done with the semester, and I was making about enough a month on my paycheck to cover the cost of my own product. So I was making, about $150 a month. So to be able to go to the One Plexus convention, I live in Virginia, if you guys don't know, and I'd actually only been on a plane before Plexus once in 4th grade to Florida. So it looked like that was just going to be a crazy feat to go to Phoenix, Arizona for this convention. But you guys, what really changed in that time frame was my mindset. And so for me, I really started to believe in myself and get out of my own way, because I realized that by getting out of my own way, that was the only way that I was going to be able to help others. And so by doing so and by sharing these products, just really unashamed and just being really bold and sharing, I was actually able to go to that trip on my April and May paychecks. You guys, that is totally God's grace. That was not my works at all. It was just totally a God thing. And so I went to that convention. They say leaders are born at events, and that's so, so true. I actually, 2 weeks later, after coming home from convention, went gold. And I kind of backtracked for a little bit for my story. It took me 8 months to go silver. And when I went silver, I actually wasn't technically silver, because I've really, truly learned quality versus quantity, and I didn't know that in the beginning. So I just thought, let's sign up everybody as ambassadors, right? But I learned that it's really, at the end of the day, about those people that you want to work with, but also who do you want to be sitting in Maui with, right? That's what I really realized. So I actually wasn't technically silver, because some of those people had gone inactive. And so it took me another year after I'd gone silver to go gold. And so I actually, two months later, I went senior gold, and then on New Year's Eve, I went ruby. And so it's actually been 12 months now since I've been ruby, and I want you guys to know it's been 3 years to ruby, and every single second, every minute was worth it. Every phase, every season of my journey has taught me something new. There's been something new that I've had to learn and grow through. So my light bulb moment in January of 2015 was my mindset. I knew that I had belief in those 3 quadrants, but I didn't have belief in that 4th one that I needed in order to be successful. So what started for me, started getting this ball rolling on changing my mindset in order for me to be able to be successful, was I watched The Secret. I'm sure some of you guys have probably heard of that. If you've ever heard of the documentary, it's also a book. It's a documentary on Netflix. And so I watched that, and I learned a lot about the law of attraction. And that is really what started to get the ball rolling for me. When I started to realize that what you think about is ultimately what you bring about. And for me, I was someone who was always negative. I was always negative without even really realizing it, because we all come with our own self-talk that we have because of the circumstances that we've gone through and just whatever life experiences we have. We all have our own self-talk, and sometimes we don't realize that that self-talk can actually be what's enabling us from reaching our dreams and reaching our goals. And for me, that's what it was, because I had all these dreams and these goals and these visions, but I had this negative, doubtful self-talk. So because of that, I wasn't actually ever going to reach those goals and dreams until I got through that. So the number one tip that I first want to share with you guys, because I have 3 tips and then I'll open it up for questions, is your mindset. So make sure that you first have those 3 quadrants that I was sharing about: the products, the company, and the opportunity. You want to make sure you have solid belief in those, because after watching for a year and a half and being pretty quiet about my own business and what was happening, I had belief in all 3 of those. I just didn't have it in myself. And so what I started changing after I watched watched The Secret, learned about the law of attraction, is I started practicing positive affirmations. And I know that you've probably heard of those before, and I love the affirmations you can find on Pinterest and things like that. But what I've found to be the most successful for me is actually changing the fears and doubts that I've had about myself, about my business, things like that, into positive affirmations. So if you are like me and in the beginning of your business, you had a lot of people who reached out to you, but you were really worried about experiencing the cost objection, that was me. I was always really worried about people being worried about the price and thinking it was too expensive, because me, as a broke college student, when I started out, that was my first objection. So because of that, I actually attracted people to me who were interested in the products but actually weren't going to order because they had that cost objection. I was attracting to me exactly what I didn't want because that's what I was focusing on. And I'll let you guys know now, I hardly ever deal with the cost objection. And if I do, I just let them know, hey, I'll be here whenever you're ready. And 9 times out of 10, they always come back around. And the way that I do that is because I started telling myself positive affirmations. So the one specifically for that one is I would tell myself every day, I'm so thankful that so many of my friends and family see the value in these products and this opportunity and are ready to hop on board. I would tell myself that day in and day out, because you guys, at the end of the day, the universe doesn't know the difference between what you're saying and what you're thinking and what's actually happening. So you want to speak into existence what it is that you ultimately desire. So I love Lori Harrison, and so she speaks on this as prophesying over your life. And if you've read The Circle Maker, I love that. So you want to speak what it is that you want over your business, over your family, over your marriage, over your friendships. You want to speak that into existence, because I know we've all been in hard times. There's hills and valleys in this journey. And I know for me, I've seen the difference of when I've been in a low place and I've complained, I've only seen more negative come from that. But when I started to shift my focus and shift my energy into being positive, I've seen a huge, huge difference. And so that was my first thing, was changing my mindset and changing those doubts and fears that I had. Another one for me was being a leader. I'm super introverted. I have been my whole life. As an only child, I love to just stay in my room and read, and I could do that all day. And so being really introverted and shy, that has also been something that I've had to work through. And never being a leader before, that was something that I had to tell myself the affirmation, I am a reliable and responsible leader that my team needs. So working through the things that you can recognize that you need to work through and turning those into positive affirmations that you can tell yourself every day, it might sound crazy at first, and it might actually feel crazy at first, but do it for 30, 60, 90 days and just see where you're at. Just see and let me know, and we'll go from there. But this kind of leads right into my second tip, because this was the second thing that I did after I started shifting my mindset. And I did this without even really realizing this, is I started to build my brand. And I know Rachel, she does an amazing job of this. She's, a natural-minded mama. She does a great job of building her brand. And so I want to share with you guys, because I did this super intentionally in the beginning, and now I'm going back and trying to be more intentional about it. But it's really important to build a brand aside from the corporate Plexus brand. And so for me, I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this, but after high school, I really didn't use Facebook. I kind of just left it there for family, and I just only really used Twitter or Instagram. So when I joined Plexus and started posting about Plexus, I was basically like just posting in nowhere land pretty much. And I got no interaction, nothing. And I'll tell you guys, it took me months before I even got my first customer. And so what I'm super guilty of, as I'm sure some of you guys are, the graphics and the salesy ads and whatnot, I did it all in the beginning. And so I quickly learned that that wasn't the way that I was going to be successful in building my business. And so when I came back a year later and I really was all in and starting to build my business, what I did was I actually just started sharing about things that was totally unrelated to my business. I started sharing more things about me and things that I was interested in. So I was sharing more things about, for me, I'm really interested in holistic health or astrology or just so many different things. And what I really like to do now, because it is something that I'm more intentional about, is I like to kind of come up with 5 to 10 different things. And so make a list of the 5 to 10 different things that you want your brand to be known for. And like one of them for me is spirituality. I can branch that off into so many different things: meditation, yoga. So think of those different things and then you can branch them off from there. But what's great about it that I think is that the more unrelated that those things are, the better, because when people see those things out and about, they're going to automatically think of you. So really get crystal clear on what it is that you want your brand to be and what it is that you want to be known for, and start building that brand, because in the long run, that is what's going to make it to where you're never having to hunt for people. You're never having to look for people. Naturally, who you are is going to attract people to you and to your team. They say that your vibe attracts your tribe. So that's where building your brand is going to be so crucial. It's going to make it to where exactly who you are attracts the right person to you who needs what you have. And that's ultimately what we want, right? We can just go out and be who we are, and just doing that is going to attract the right people who need these products and this opportunity to us. It's incredible. So building your brand is really important. And then the third and last thing that I wanted to share that was really key for me in getting to where I am now is become the rock star that you want to sign up. So I know we're all just waiting to sign up the next Celeste Gwynn, right? She had such an amazing quick start, but I want you guys to know that that's not always the norm, and that's still okay. We say that this is 2 to 5 years to diamond. I'll let you guys know if it's even 5 years. I would hope for it to be 4 since I am on my 3rd year, but even if it is 5 years to diamond, you guys, it has been worth every single second, like I said. So I want you guys to become the rock star that you want to sign up. And what that means is, for me, because I didn't have a team or I didn't have customers for so long in the beginning, I spent every waking minute that I could watching every Plexus YouTube video that I could find. Back then, I will say in the very beginning when I was doing this, it was only like Sarah Marble, Sonia Dudley. There wasn't much else. Lori Harrison was one of the newer ones back then, but now we have so many. There's so much information out there and so many good leaders to learn from. You don't have to reinvent the wheel at all, which is amazing. But I would spend all my time reading all the files that I could. I was literally like a Plexus sponge and learning everything that I could. And so I think that is where a lot of the times we can be too busy looking for that next rock star rather than being that rock star. And it all goes back to attraction marketing, the law of attraction. What you are, you're going to attract that to you. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, right? So the more that you're building your business, the more that not only your team is going to do that, but you're going to attract business builders to you. So I want to share that with you guys, because pouring into the personal development, like, you can never be done learning. You always want to stay coachable. You always want to be learning, because at the end of the day, you guys, we don't want to go from 0 to diamond in a second, because the whole thing that this is about is the journey, and it's about the person that you become along the way, the person that you become in the process. And so what is it is if you don't learn anything. And so if I just want to share, if you're ever feeling stuck in your journey at all, I want you to know that you can always look within. Because I know for me, whenever I would get stuck, my first response would be to say, what more can I be doing? What more can I do? What more can I put out for my team? What more can I be doing? But really, if you're ever in that situation, I just want you to look within. Because if you're ever stuck at a place, it's just because there's still something that you need to learn before you can get to the next level. Because at each phase in my journey, I can specifically look back, and while during that time it was such a struggle, I can specifically see what it is that I was learning then. Before I actually got my Plexus business going, I was learning how to love myself, and I was growing that belief for myself. Then once it actually got started and I got stuck again, it's because I had to grow my leadership lid. Because at the end of the day, even as a Ruby ambassador, there was a time when I couldn't picture myself as an Emerald ambassador because I had never been in the leadership position before. And so I've had to grow my leadership capacity and my leadership lid. So I want you to look within wherever it is that you're at and just see, maybe ask it to be revealed to you what it is that maybe you need to still learn. What is it that maybe you need to still work through, you need to still learn, that's going to get you to that next phase? Because there's nothing that you need to do. There's no reinventing the wheel that needs to take place at all. You just got to look within and work through those struggles. And I promise you're going to come out on top. And what's great is that you can be on a Zoom call like this, sharing about your struggles and sharing about how you got through it. So I want you guys to know that. And when it comes to building your teams, I just want to share my strategy that I like to share, and I call it the 3 Ps. And so it's very simple. This is what I do to build my business because I am super introverted. And even though I love to be organized, I'm not a very organized person. I'm very kind of all over the place. So following these 3 Ps makes it very simple for me to be able to actually build my business on a daily basis. So the 3 Ps are, the first one is you want to constantly be planting seeds. So like I said, we want to be a team of farmers, not a team of hunters. We're constantly planting seeds for the harvest. So every single day, you just want to be planting seeds. I know a lot of us, if you are new at all, when in the beginning, it's so easy to just want that sale or to want that first ambassador, but just know that I still have people 3 years later that I'm still talking to that talked to me day one. So just keep planting seeds and know that their time will come just like your time came. And I think for a lot of us, it is about that divine timing. You have to get to that rock bottom, right? If you can remember when you joined Plexus, I know for me, I was at rock bottom. For a lot of us, you probably had to get to that point to take that leap of faith. So just continually plant those seeds. And if you're building your brand consistently, then when you do plant those seeds and those people are ready, whenever it is, whether, I always tell people, if it's a week from now, if it's a year from now, if it's 5 years from now, I'm not going anywhere, and either is Plexus, so I'm always here whenever you're ready. So plant those seeds because you never know, you guys, you literally never know when they'll come right back around and come full circle. So plant seeds every single day. And then the next one is pour. Pour into those seeds, the next P. So I don't mean just sharing about Plexus. The way that I like to share Plexus with my potentials is layering the exposures. So I'm layering, oh, here's an event that I'm doing you can tune into, or, oh, here's, a little bit of information on this. Here's a diamond documentary I think you would really like. That's the way I like to layer the exposures, because they say, studies show, it takes about 12 to 22 exposures of something before someone will actually make a decision. So just know that maybe you just haven't exposed somebody 22 times yet to Plexus for them to have that one post that resonates with them and they're ready to join. But also, aside from Plexus, pour into people. Pour into people in ways where you might be going to get coffee with them and just catching up. And it just goes back to branding. If you're building that consistent brand, Plexus is going to come up. They're going to ask you what you're up to. They're going to ask you about Plexus. It's natural, I promise. If you're really building that brand and showing the lifestyle and being a product of the product, that's kind of how it all comes together. And so pour into people, whether it's your church, your friends, your family, get lunch with people to catch up. Just do those different things to pour into people outside of just Plexus, because we always say that this is a relationship business, right? So when you pour into people, that's going to lead you to places, and it's going to just make dots connect that you would have never imagined. You never know when someone that you reconnect with and catch up with from high school, they might put you up in touch with somebody who's your first jewel in your team. I mean, you never know what could take place. So pour into those seeds, and you never know when they're going to bloom. I swear, one by one is when they blossom, one by one, truly. And then the last P is just pray. Every single day, I pray that the people that need these products and this opportunity are placed in my path. And I think when you do that, you're never, ever, ever going to have a problem with having potential customers or potential team members. And that is my biggest thing, is praying over my business, praying over my team, praying over my customers, my future customers, my future potentials. And I want you guys to know that I'm sure you guys all have a 100-person list. And when I first started, I thought that was so cheesy. So I made it, and then I put it away and never looked at it again. And I randomly found it a year later, and I pulled it out, and like 90% of that list was a customer or a team member of mine a year later. And I made that list when I was first starting out, didn't know what I was doing at all. I was a broke, overweight 19-year-old college student. And then I found that list, after I had already got through all of those struggles and I'd overcame that. So it's just crazy to see that I had planted those seeds then, and they all came to fruition in exactly the right time, each and every single one of them. And some of them I'm still working on, but that's why it's an ever-growing and ever-evolving list, right? So I want you guys to know that, and keep building that list, keep building relationships, keep praying over people, because you never know. That's one thing I've learned on this journey, is you never know when someone's going to be ready. You never know when someone's going to need what you have to offer, even if they are someone who has said that they weren't interested in Plexus or they swore it off. You just never know. Your skeptics will come around, I promise you. So continue building your brand, continue pouring into your potentials, pouring into just the relationships that you have, and become the rock star that you want to sign up. Do the personal growth now, because the more that you do now, I promise you it's going to help you so much more on your journey if you do it now, rather than if you just decide to as a senior gold or a ruby ambassador. Because for me, what I learned is that by yourself, you could probably get yourself to gold or to senior gold. But after that, you need a team. You need a team of people who's working alongside you. And I don't think that you can really do that without true personal growth. Just with all the different people that we work with and whatnot, you really want to have that leadership, and you really want to grow your leadership capacity and leadership lid, because, when you are a diamond ambassador, think of how many people are underneath you, right? That's just like mind-blowing to me to think about, just as a ruby ambassador. And so you have to master these things now for you to be able to be that diamond ambassador, right? So I'm really big on acting as if, and that goes right into the law of attraction and your mindset. Act as if now. So if you are a silver ambassador going for gold and you haven't maybe thought of your team name yet, really think about what you want your team name to be. Maybe start making your team group, start adding some things in there. Maybe start working on the training that you want to be for your team. Doing those things, acting as if, because for me, I'm acting as if as an emerald, right? So you want to act as what it is that you're working towards, and do the things that ambassador, that leader would be doing. Because then, like I said, the universe doesn't know the difference. Ultimately, it's all going to come full circle and put the situations and the circumstances and the people that will make your dreams and your desires come true. So I just want to share with you guys. And the last thing that I just want to share, I haven't shared this before, but I really felt called to. We share about our why, and I know we all talk about that so much, and that's something that I never really touched on a lot, because for me, we all talk about it, right? We all know the importance of our why, but I was actually watching a video from Celeste Gwynn, and it really resonated with me. And so I want you guys to think about, when you're thinking about your why, it's so much more than just what we realize. And so when we look at that income disclosure and we see those different ranks and what those different ranks are making, I want you to look at that and think, what can you do with that money? But beyond just what you can do with that for yourself or for your family, what good could you do with that money if you had it, right? Because I know for me, as someone with an associate's degree, I would have never in my life seen that kind of annual income. So for me, as a Diamond Ambassador, making, almost $500,000 a year, making $30,000 average a month, that means for me that I can not only be retired, but I can actually retire my parents and bring them home and them not have to work, right? So that's my why. It's so much bigger than just being a Diamond Ambassador and having, these fancy cars and trips and things like that. $30,000 a month for me, yes, that's amazing money, but that means that what I can do with it. I can not only bless my parents who have done so much for me, but I can bless others in ways that I never in my life would have been able to imagine. So I want you guys to think about that with your why and really look at those income disclosures. And yes, it's amazing, the money and the income that people are making, but really break that down and really think about what are you going to be doing with that money, right? Because if you can't imagine it right now, then it's not going to come. So you want to really feel and know what that's going to feel like and know what you're going to do with it. So really think, when you're an Emerald Ambassador, what is that extra income, or maybe it is your full-time income, what is that going to do for you, but also what are you going to be able to do with it? Because I think when you have a solid plan in place for what you're going to do, then it's all going to come full circle so much faster than you would have ever imagined. So those are the tips that I had that I really wanted to share with you guys tonight. I hope that resonated and touched some of you guys and that you guys needed to hear it. And so I will open it up for questions. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat or to unmute yourself. And also, if you want to shoot me a friend request if we're not friends and message me on there as well, I'd be more than happy. I'll probably send you a voice messenger because that's my jam, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions on there as well. But I'm just super thankful that I was able to be on this call tonight, and I cannot wait to see you guys at convention. Get there, please.
I will ask the first question if you don't mind. Okay, so just listening to all this, first of all, thank you. I know that you're taking time out of your Monday night to do this for us, and
no
I just want to
problem.
know. Yeah, but I'm curious, what I know you mentioned this to me when we were chatting, and a few things, but you said it took you 8 months to get to silver, but I'm confirming, was that from when you started or when you really cracked down in January of 2015?
Okay, that was when I started. So I did go silver. So it was in June of 2014 that I went silver. But that whole first year and a half is really blurry to me, just because I was so off and on. I was only posting graphics and salesy things and whatnot. So it took me 8 months to go silver, and probably a month later I wasn't actually, paid as silver. So it took me a year after that for me to really even understand still, because I want you guys to know I actually don't have contact with my upline or anything. So I actually didn't even know when payday was for the first year, just because I wasn't receiving. Yeah, I saw jaws drop. I wasn't receiving a paycheck, so I didn't know when payday was. So there was a lot of time that I poured into learning everything. So yeah, it took me 8 months to go silver, and I don't even think that people ordered welcome packs from me when they went silver, because I didn't know anything about that. I didn't understand the compensation plan, anything. So a year later, I actually started when I shared my pictures, and a lot of the times people tell me, you're so brave for sharing those pictures, but what people don't realize is that's actually how I built my business, was putting myself out there and being really vulnerable. But when I started sharing that was when I had a lot of people who were interested, because they really were seeing for the first time that these products were changing me and I was being a product of the product for the first time. And so that was when I actually just started signing up people as customers, because I didn't really know the difference. I was just okay, this didn't work out the first go around, so I'm just going to get a lot of customers. And so I did that. I got a lot of customers. I had crazy PV. And then I slowly started to realize, hey, you're asking me about your cousin. You might as well just join as an ambassador. You'll get your products cheaper, and you can just refer them to your website. So I slowly started doing that, and then I realized one day, without even knowing what that meant, that I had 50 points and was halfway to gold. And that was when it really clicked for me, and then ever since then is when I've just gone full speed ahead.
That's
Well,
awesome.
it was very slow and steady in the beginning. So I want you guys to know, like, I truly believe if this could happen for me, it can happen for anybody. You just can't give up.
Yeah, seriously. And you don't have, I mean, you don't have to necessarily talk about this, but you haven't had really any help from your upline?
No, yeah. So I'm not in any like upline groups or anything like that. So that it has been a struggle, but I want you guys to know that at the end of the day, you can do this even without an upline. You guys have incredible uplines. So you guys already are have an advantage to me. But you, like I said, it all comes down to being the rock star for your team. So I just said, I want this to happen. And it doesn't matter with, my upline or anything. I know that this can happen. We all have the same opportunity. So I just became the upline basically for myself and for my team members that I ultimately wish that I had and wanted. So I became that upline, and I want you guys to know that you guys can do this no matter what obstacles come in your way, because there will be obstacles. There will be. But no matter what, if you can continue to push through, no obstacle is too big for Plexus and for this journey, right? Because they always make things right. They always do things so over the top than we could ever imagine. So this journey is so worth it.
I'm sure other people probably have some questions, but I have one more for you. Because I think this is something that a lot of people would want to hear is, obviously you've had hard times and you've had down times in this business. So on those days or even those weeks or those months when you don't hit your goals or you're feeling down or you're like, who am I to even do this? I see you shaking your head. What is it that always brings you back and gets you motivated again when you feel like quitting, when you feel like giving up? What is it that you do?
Yes. This was really hard for me when I was pushing to Ruby. The last year, I've really just been in a season of growth, so I haven't been focusing on it as much. But when I was pushing a Ruby, I was like this close every single month. And that's so hard. I've heard people who are like 5 points from going, well, like that's so hard. What I've always just lived by is change the date, not the destination. So I always just roll on to the first of the next month and just, it's always about the destination, not the date. So I always know that I'm working towards being a diamond. It doesn't really matter when it's going to happen because I know that divine timing is going to make it happen and exactly when it's supposed to happen. But I will say that there have been those days on my journey, and there have been those highs and lows. Summer was a really trying time for me, and I've just now actually got back into momentum again. And it's because, I'll be completely honest, I was stuck in manager mode. And I wasn't personally building my business. So that's where I think it all comes to looking within, because there can be so much going on around you that we can get frustrated by. But I think if you really just look within, find that peace within, then you will know what it is that you need to do to get to that next level. Maybe there's something that you have that is a doubt or a fear that is enabling you that you don't even realize that you have about yourself. For me, leadership, that was a big one that I've had to work through over this past year. So there will be days like that on this journey. I promise. Even diamonds have those days for sure. But it's all about what you do with them. And you keep pushing through and you keep persevering, because it is so worth it at the end. When you, like I said, you can be on a Zoom call like this, sharing with other people your struggles and your hard times. Even at that moment, it seemed like the end of the world and you were never going to get through it. It's so great to be able to talk about it and see how it all lined up perfectly to teach you the lessons that you were supposed to learn in order to get to where you're supposed to go. So just know that, have the destination in mind, not the date, and just keep pushing forward. You have great questions, Rachel. Does anyone else have any?
Let me see. Okay. Well, I'm sure that we will get, I'm sure you're going to get some friend requests and some messages. Yeah. Now, I just wanted to thank you again, really, for taking your time and sharing your journey and your thoughts on this. I knew just from talking to you and seeing what you post that you would be the perfect person to cover this topic for us. And it was really fun meeting you for like half a second in Dallas, by the way.
Right? I feel like that's always how it is.
We're always so busy. But I'll go ahead. It's getting late. And thank you again. Thanks everybody for joining in and everyone who's watching this recorded. And I know that you're going to touch a lot of lives with this. So thank you, Sarah.
Bye, guys. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody.